Welcome. If this is your first time, I'm Kyle.
And I'm Michelle, and we're the Wandering Shores.
So this will be, I believe, the 13th edition of our monthly expenses of full-time living while on the road. And we started this based upon a recommendation of our friend Mark and Mary back in the middle of 24. I think it was June or July. I'm not 100% sure. But we are here to talk about June 2025 expenses with everybody. We're going to give you the down and the dirty of all of where we spend our money. And where are we at today, Michelle?
Today we are outside. Oh, we're at Canyon Ferry Reservoir. Ta-da!
Outside of Townsend, Montana / Helena, Montana. Helena is probably about 30 miles northwest of here, and we thought we try to always pick as unique of a spot as we can find at the time that the expenses video is due, and we hope that everyone had a fantastic... There's some helicopter flying over there. I don't know where it is. I can hear it. I don't know if you guys can hear it in the mics.
Oh, it's right over there.
Oh, yeah, there it is. We hope that you guys had a great 4th of July weekend. We've compiled all our numbers on this little cheat sheet, and we're going to go through it with you, and we're going to kind of explain a few things that we did a little bit different on this month's expenses. So let's start off with medical. Michelle?
We spent for the month of June $37.10.
Yeah, that's fairly average for us. I don't think that changes, except when we have some significant issue going on, like Michelle's teeth or something like that. So medical, $37.10. Utilities,
$54.93.
So for our utilities, you're talking about propane, cost to dump. I think that's kind of mostly what it is. And so a lot of that was propane because we were in some colder weather in the month of June in Stanley, Idaho. So we did have to buy propane a few times. Normally we don't, because really the hot water tank and our stove are the only things that run it on propane other than the furnace, and we don't usually run the furnace. Okay, lodging.
$119 even.
Okay, so lodging for us includes campgrounds. This $119 was actually, I put it under lodging because it was the annual cost of my Elks membership. And eventually we're joining Elks so that we can have access to the RV parks. And so I decided to go ahead and just list that under lodging, because in essence, it is part of why we joined the Elks, so that we could have access to their campgrounds. And that is just the fee associated with my Elks membership for the year of May of 25 into May of 26. That's how they do their annual membership. Dining and entertainment.
$493.85.
That's pretty high for us. We went out a lot. We were with our friends there in Stanley. We went out on Taco Tuesday. We went out for pizza.
Tuesday, yeah, Sawmill Station.
Yeah. So we spent more on dining and entertainment. That also, dining and entertainment includes cost. So I don't think you've seen it yet. No, you haven't. But this coming Sunday, we have a video, part 2 of our Stanley adventures, and we took a boat across Redfish Lake to go on a hike, and that boat was
$24 a person.
Yeah, so some of that expenses and entertainment is also recreation for us. We just lump it all together, but that was $493.85. Business expenses.
We spent $610.72.
So we had to renew our Ring membership for our security cameras. We also, within there, because we have the Wandering Shores, we have to renew our Office 365. We also purchased a new domain name. Actually, I think I purchased 2, but more on that later. If you watched our live event, you'll know that some changes are on the horizon for us, and I wanted to secure some domain names for future endeavors. So 61072 for business. Home repair, and pet. This is general household stuff.
$946.53.
Yeah, that's probably about average for us. Somewhere between $700 and $900 a month is what we spend on that. I don't remember any big ticket items there this month. We did have access. Oh, we got some, I think clothing is actually in there. So Michelle got some new hiking boots. So some of those things are also included in household. But yeah, so that was $946.53. Groceries.
$765.
Hopefully we got that on video. We're probably blocking it, but some fish just jumped up behind us. Groceries, sorry.
$765.
Yeah, that's a little higher for us, but we were also in Stanley where things are extremely expensive. And so we had, not a whole lot of options when it came to getting groceries in those smaller towns. So we've got auto, which is broken for us into fuel and service. The fuel cost for the month of June, Michelle?
$606.05.
And we had 0 service charges. So we didn't have any oil changes or maintenance on the truck. So $606 is actually high for us, but we hightailed it in the month of June. We made it through, I think in the beginning of June, if I remember correctly, we were in Vernal, Utah, and we made it clear up to, well, now Montana, in the month of June. So we had about $600 in expenses for fuel. And the total then for the month of June, and don't leave because we got to talk about some of the stuff that's not in here.
$3,633.18.
Yes, so $3,600. I think last month we were at around $2,600 or $2,700. It was one of our lowest months. This one's about $1,000 more. It's manageable. We'd like to keep it below $3,000 if we can, but there are just some things that, we expense out in a month that we don't anticipate, just like everybody and just like all of you do. One thing I will say as a caveat here to the end, if you watched our live event, you know that in October, Michelle and I are headed down to Dallas, Texas / Athens, Texas, and I am going to be going to the NRVTA school to become a certified RV tech. One of the things I backed out of here is the initial deposit I had to make not only on the lodging that I'm going to stay there at the campground, but also for the school. That is all going to be captured probably in its own video once we get down to Texas. So I have just kind of pulled that fee and those expenses out of this month and didn't include those because I'm going to include them in a bigger video down the road when we talk about how much it cost us to, I guess, take on this new challenge and become a certified RV tech. I'm going to talk about the cost of the school, the lodging while you're there, some of the expenses related to starting your own business, tools, all of that. So I've just backed those out. We did pay some of them, or we did pay a deposit, 25% deposit in the month of June, as well as a 1 week of the 5 weeks I paid for the RV park. So those are not in this month's expenses. So the actual money coming out was much more than the $3,600, but some of it's going to get captured for you in a future video later this year. So if you have any questions about our expenses, please don't hesitate to comment below. And please, please, please give us a thumbs up. We like to push out this material. We try to be as open and transparent as humanly possible. We don't kind of hide stuff behind some random, expense list that nobody really knows how much you spent. This is what we spent. Outside of the school stuff, this is exactly what we spent for the month of June. And we will be back at the beginning of August for July. And I don't actually know where we'll be at the beginning of August. So you'll have to check back and see
what cool place we can find.
What cool place we pick. So thanks, everyone. And anything in closing, Michelle?
Be sure and like our content. So like you said.
Ding the bell.
Yep. So we can get it pushed out there. Ring the bell for notifications.
Check out our website, thewanderingshores.com. We just recently updated it. So there's a whole new About section. Our gear page is all updated. And we've also kind of streamlined and modernized the overall look, and we hope you guys like it. And if you don't already subscribe to our newsletter, we send out a newsletter every Sunday, and there's a link right on the main page for that. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks.
See you next week.